Hey everybody, we're back and we're continuing on with Judaism. Um, the other couple stories of the separation stories, in case people didn't know, Cain and Abel are the sons of Adam and Eve, and they are two brothers who are worshiping God, and Cain is the older one, Abel is the younger one, and they both go up on the mountainside to offer God sacrifices, and Cain offers the the goats that he wants to offer as offering, and Abel, who's more agrarian, offers grain. Now, um, Cain goes ahead and he offers not the best, but like the rest of his, just kind of lower. And Abel offers the best, right? So then they put these, they light their sacrifices on fire, and Cain's the smoke doesn't rise straight up to heaven. It like goes off to the side, and so in that understanding, Cain believes that God doesn't accept his sacrifice, where Abel's, the smoke rises directly into the heavens, and so in that sense, um, Cain is jealous of Abel, and here we have really the first sin. So Cain goes and kills Abel, and so this is, and then God shows up, like where was he before, right? Out on vacation. And he says to Cain, well, where's your brother? And the famous line from the story is, well, am I my brother's keeper? Now the answer is yes. We all are our brother's keepers. We take are supposed to take care of one another. But here is this is the issue of separation. And just as this goes on, Adam and Eve are the first people, right? And then Cain and Abel are their children, and God banishes Cain from all the cities of the earth, that no matter what city he goes in, he'll be rejected. I don't know what people in what cities God is talking about, but this is just another example of this story being just that, a story. Um, Another aspect here um, is that Cain is uh, going to be rejected, and he actually gets what he wants. Right? He wants separation from Abel, and so now he's separated from all humanity. Now, the next story, Noah, the story of Noah and the ark, is really fascinating because it, in some senses, um, is a story, and it does not have any kind of historical direct context, but there is some kind of historicity to it. Now, in the Black Sea, off of the Mediterranean, between Turkey and Greece, there used to be, in ancient times, a land bridge between Greece and Turkey, so that the Black Sea was much smaller. And archaeologists did some digging in the floor of the Black Sea, and they found a series of civilizations in the floor bed of the Black Sea, which basically means that the Black Sea was originally much smaller, right? And what happened was, at some point, um, seismologists found out that there was a great earthquake in the floor of the Mediterranean Sea that created some pretty significant tidal activity, and that land bridge between Turkey and Greece was smashed. And at that point, it makes sense that the Mediterranean had flooded into the floor of the Black Sea and put the Black Sea to its size now, which would have meant that um, all of those little cultures around the original smaller size of the Black Sea would have been flooded, right? Their whole world was flooded. In that time, people didn't travel more than 5 miles from the place that they were born. Um, so that would have seemed like a flooding of the whole world. And um, I don't know about building an ark, but I could imagine a couple of people, um, as the waters are rising, and then they see like the side of a barn floating by, and some man like grabs his wife, throws her up there, and scoops up some chickens, and maybe throws a goat on the side of this barn. And amazingly enough, maybe truly, this little raft heads on down and goes, and is and they're saved, right? Maybe they're the only people in their village that are saved. And you can see where that little bit of a story, that little bit of a truth, suddenly turns into this man who has this ark, this huge boat, and bringing all of the animals from all over the world to be on this boat to save them. That just doesn't, that doesn't make sense in reality, but in the sense of it being something where you take these amazing stories and then the exaggeration happens and it blows into an entire arc. That seems to be what happened here in the story of Noah. Um, and the Tower of Babel is very simply, man is doing well. The people are successful. They think they're just as good as God, or want to, achieve some kind of connection to God. So they decide they're going to build a tower all the way to heaven. So they're building this tower, and because of their arrogance, God decides to, I don't know, play a trick on them and changes their language. Right. So you're handing somebody a brick, and suddenly they they're speaking Japanese or they're speaking Spanish. And so people all the building of the temple or the tower stops, and then they kind of gather together with people whose languages they can understand, and then they go off into the world to settle in their own lands. And you can clearly see that it was some little kid around that proverbial campfire asking the old grandpa, like, why do people speak different languages? And again, how would the grandpa know? So he just goes ahead and makes up this story with a moral, right? Don't be arrogant. And God separated us because we were arrogant. That makes sense to me. And that doesn't take away the truth of that story, that, when we are arrogant, it's going to create separation between you and me. I think that's pretty powerful. Another aspect of Judaism in these early stories is genealogy. It's very important in Judaism to recognize that um, people uh, connected to the generations before, that you got your identity from the ancestors that were before you. That was a really important piece of this, especially when we're talking about the relationship that God has with the people that come after. And so we'll move on here. So genealogies are really important. Okay. So I keep clicking that, and now I'm going all the way back. Got to go back here. So Judaism begins with Abram and his wife Sarai. They live about 4,000 years ago in the ancient land of Ur. Abram wondered which of the many gods were the one true God, and he he discovers, after checking out with the sun and the moon, he decided that those things go away, so there must be something even greater. In time, the one true God speaks to Abram and Sarai and leads them to a foreign land called Canaan. He makes this kind of promise that, hey, if you ask what I'm, if you ask for if you do what I ask, then you will be able to, um, you will be, you and your people will be as many as the stars in the sky. You will be as many as the grains of sand on the seashore. So this notion of God speaking to a particular person, and not just a pharaoh or somebody special, but a normal, just average person, and wanting to create some kind of covenant, creating some kind of uh, agreement, um, where it's made in love that can never be broken. That's what a covenant is. This was a brand new idea, and this made Judaism different from all other religions of its time. First of all, it was monotheistic, strictly monotheistic, and that God actually wanted to have a personal relationship with the people. Pretty amazing. All right, we'll get to the next video.